All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of, what's this called again? Live SEO Support with your two favorite SEOs in the world, Christopher Gegis and Nicholas Altamore. How are you doing today, Nick?
I'm tired actually, and I feel a bit under the weather. I don't know what's up with me, but good enough to come over here and answer some really tough zingers for you folks out there.
Well, hey there, hang in there, buddy.
I'm hanging in there. You know that cat poster that they've got in classrooms?
That's cute.
Yeah, I like that.
Very cute.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We never say it. I was looking in YouTube analytics today, and it's like our views are soaring. The amount of hours people are watching is soaring, but our subscribers is staying relatively stagnant. And you know why? It's
No,
probably
it's
because we
growing.
don't say anything.
It's
Yeah, I
growing
know, but
pretty good.
it said about the same amount added this month as usual when I was looking today. So I was like, that's the only metric. And I think last show we didn't even say it until the end,
Yeah, well,
which is very common of us.
our YouTube channel, like we're really treating YouTube as an afterthought here.
Yeah.
Like the way that our videos are done and everything is not nearly what YouTube wants as far as having them spread and whatnot, engagement, because we're just answering questions kind of off the cuff. It's not well prepared at all.
Yeah.
But I think maybe not this year, but I think our YouTube subscribers are actually going to pass our Facebook group sometime.
Yeah, I could see that happening
Maybe not
pretty.
this year, but in the near future, I think it'll happen, which is kind of cool,
Yeah.
especially considering we're not really pushing it at all. Um, but yeah, so I don't know if anyone else noticed this. And also, before we jump into this, yeah, I don't know, maybe my voice sounds different. Maybe you can tell I'm kind of looking at the screen at a different angle. I'm in a completely different place right now, and the entire setup has changed. I'm no longer on a desktop. I'm on a laptop. It's going to be my travel setup. So yeah, we're kind of just troubleshooting things live, I guess. Probably would have been smart for us
Try it out.
to have done a little bit of this before we actually went live on stream. But yeah, we're doing
S-
it live because we are ill
s-
prepared folks.
Speaking of
Um,
which, your screen is not sharing with me.
it's not.
Or it's maybe a secondary screen that I'm looking at. No, that looks like just like a Skype. Okay.
Can you see
There
the
we go.
screen now?
Yeah, nice.
Okay. Um, yeah, so if you notice any technical issues, if our one of our voices is too loud or too soft, if you can't hear something, if something is just messed up, please let us know. Um, because yeah, like we said, everything is completely changed at this point where it's a completely new setup. Even though things kind of look the same to you, just the machines that we're using and all the cameras and location, everything is completely different right now.
Brand spanking new.
Yeah, so please let us know if any issues. All right. So yeah, before we jump into the questions, there was one very important thing actually that I wanted to talk about real quick. All right, just give me 1 second. All right. Yes. So yeah, I'm doing this on a completely different screen. Even the direction of the screen I'm using to put stuff on is different. Um, Yeah, so if you haven't heard about this yet, Google today, I just actually saw this about maybe 20 minutes before we came on. Google says today we're releasing a broad core update as we do several times per year. This update is called the May 2022 Core Update. Learn more. And actually, I haven't even clicked into it yet, but we could go ahead and do that. Wonder if they actually have specifics on what they're doing. Go ahead and I'll drag this over here so everybody can see it.
Yeah, a few days ago, somebody had put up a post in our group asking if anybody noticed volatility in the SERPs, and I think you'd looked into Algoroo and hadn't really seen anything. But then
Yeah.
somebody said SEM Rush's
Well, I
volatility
looked into the
indicator.
SEM Rush thing and I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know SEM Rush even had that. So
Hmm.
I was looking into it and there's no way to zoom out to show more than the past 30 days that I could see at least.
Gotcha.
And B, every single day it was saying that there was a high amount, either a high or very high amount of volatility every single day for the past
I
month,
gotcha.
which is, just, I feel
Probably
like it's not working
inaccurate.
properly or it's not,
Right.
yeah. But anyway, let's see what this says real quick. Sorry we're doing this live, but yeah, I literally just saw it. Several times a year, blah, blah, blah. It'll take 1 to 2 weeks to fully roll out. So it hasn't started rolling out. I don't think it's even started yet. So it definitely didn't start yesterday or the day before that. Um, Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, they're actually not giving us any information here, which I guess is to be expected. Um, Yeah, so,
Switch
just
this.
be aware. If your rankings change dramatically today and from now until the next 2 weeks, um, it's normal, right? It doesn't mean you're horrible at SEO or that your business is over or anything like that. They're shifting up the algorithm and things are definitely going to be changing. We don't know if it's going to be a big or a small one. It is a broad core update, which are generally the big boys. But certain broad core updates, just don't have as much of an impact as others do. Just really depends on what they change. It could be a smaller broad core update. We don't really know yet.
Remember that over the course of the next couple weeks, any guru or loud people out there telling you they know what's going on, they're just taking educated guesses at best.
Yeah,
So things
especially
take time.
yes. So yeah, especially early on,
Yeah.
absolutely do not jump to any conclusions quickly
No.
and make any huge, massive changes to your site, very quickly. It really takes people a long time to figure out what is happening in these things. Um, Google doesn't like to be clear about what's going on, and it's up to us in the industry to figure it out. And there's just so many moving parts, and they kind of do this thing with updates now where they don't just like focus on one thing; they focus like on a ton of things. And so, really narrowing it down to what exactly might be the problem on your individual site is really, really difficult, right? So yeah, like always, proceed with caution, chill out. If your rankings take a hit, just take a deep breath for a little while. Let things smooth over. You actually might bounce back a little bit because these things take 1 to 2 weeks to roll out. They might do some adjustments or whatever, and we'll see how things go from there. And as the dust starts to settle and more people start to look at things, people will start to form a little bit of a consensus. But yeah, as always, people are going to come out and they're going to say, I looked at all my
Yeah.
sites and I know exactly the problem. Just take a step back from that. Approach this with patience. It's the best, the
Yeah,
best
I mean,
practice.
over the last major updates, I can remember going through that, really shook things up. I feel like, um, you know, certain amounts of volatility are kind of built into algo updates by Google specifically to shake things up and, not give you a good line of sight of what would be going on, right? Because that would be counterintuitive to their business model. So yeah, take your time, move slow, and relax. If you're getting really anxious during these periods, maybe step back from the analytics for a little while.
For sure. It's definitely a good time to step back. You're not going to fix anything quickly. So yeah, chill out. All right, let's see over on YouTube. Got Surrender Ready. It says, hello, good afternoon, Chris and Nick. What's going
Hello.
on? Surrender Ready. Um, Also got this one. Jude McLean says, I always thought you were Eastern European for some bizarre reason. Did you mean our company or like us specifically? Um, but yeah, I mean, we're a US based company and we're both from the US as well. We're from Texas. Some bad news out of Texas if you
Um,
watch the news or anything like that. Some pretty sad stuff, but we're not really going to go into that. All right, let's see what Surrender has got here for us.
PBN
And yeah,
questions.
guys, like always, like, comment, subscribe. It helps us out a lot. If you've got any questions, doesn't matter what it is, how big or how small, don't worry about it. Just drop it in the chat. We'll get to it. And yeah, hopefully get you some help. All right, how the 40 PBN network link structure to boost one money site. Can you show on Paint? I'm not sure if I know what you're talking about here. How the
Yeah,
40...
how to structure like a PBN network
Oh,
for
like
one
40
specific money
PBNs?
site. Yeah.
He
Yeah,
wants us to use Paint. I like
yeah,
that.
that's fun.
But I don't know if there's much I can really show on Paint for this.
Um, yeah, there's not much other, I mean, like you make kind of a basic model, which is the money site and then, multiple PBNs hitting it. And then the main thing we just have to stress is the fact that if you want to build a 40 PBN for one money site,
So this is your money site, right?
nice, very
And then we're
nice.
going to have 40 PBNs out here.
Boom. Now, the key here is that all of these domains are going to have to be on separate hosts, maybe not completely separate hosts, but I mean, if we're talking 40, then I would probably say at least, 10 different hosts just to be on the safe side. You're going to want them to be on separate registrars. Um,
So
you
I'm going
know,
to do this. I'm saying like 10, maybe these ones are hosted on the same host. Maybe these ones right here are hosted on the same host. Maybe these
yeah,
right
but
here on the
I would
same
say
host.
like max 4 on the same host. And like that's if you've
Hey, that's
got,
about 4.
yeah, it's it's good. Um, right. So what we don't want is footprints leading Google bots to be able to crawl the PBN, which is, every single one is going to be hitting your money site, but they cannot have connectivity to one another. And that starts at the registrar, within the hosting, within the plugins you use on WordPress, within the contact information for all of these websites, etc. So a lot of people think, especially early on, and this is why I got started in PBN. So, I'm talking about from, mistakes and learning, but, I thought the PBN was going to be the easiest, most efficient way to rank a website. But the truth is, it's more of a tool that I now use to muscle things up. So my first recourse of action isn't going to be a 40 PBN for a money site. And typically, it's not really something that I do all that often anymore, because it's got to be so separated. And in the end, what you come to find is it costs quite a bit of money to have a 40 PBN up specific to one money site. And then, when you're looking at that cost benefit, I think going after a diversified backlink profile versus just sticking to one tool is typically the better way to use that budget. So yeah, that's the thing. You can do this, but just know that there can't be any footprints. And then if hypothetically, fine, you've got this one money site with a 40 PBN built to it. Maybe you take on a couple more sites, right? And you're thinking, well, can I use this 40 PBNs to link to these other two money sites? Well, then you have to
Well,
conceptualize
let's stick to the
differentiation there
let's stick
too.
to the question, just the one money site. Um, what would you do as far as where you're sending them? Would you do any tiered building? He's asked a follow-up question about would you do any like tiered building or anything like that, or would you how exactly would you go about sending the links to the site?
So you could do tiered link building. It depends
Like,
on
would
if
you
you're
use...
talking about using PBNs to tiered link
Yeah, I think
to
that's what he's asking.
PBNs, right? Which could be effective in getting that PBN crawled, etc. But
Do
quite
you
honestly, if you're sourcing quality PBNs, then uh, depending on what else you're doing as far as monthly backlinking campaign goes, you'd probably want to send the majority to the homepage. Then you could also do things like sending them to
Well,
social, YouTube, etc.
back to the tiered thing. Do you yourself personally ever, if you had a 40 PBN network, would you ever tier some of them to the other PBNs to go to the One Money site?
No. The only time I really would use tiered is, like I was just saying, to social
Yeah.
profiles, YouTube, things like that, Facebook, etc.
Yeah, so just to recap it real quick, we normally wouldn't tell you to do any tiered billing with these. If these are decent PBNs, we'd just send them to your money site, right? The thing is, 40 PBNs is quite a lot of PBNs.
Yeah.
So, we're hoping that you are following best practices here, and you've got a bunch of other links, right? To be able to mask 40 PBN links, you're going to have quite a bit more of normal links, right? To make this kind of natural. And you don't want to send them in just all at once. You're going to want to kind of slowly layer them in, slowly add them in over time, rather than just boom, here comes 40 PBNs, right?
Sorry.
So yeah, definitely be careful with that, right? And I think you touched on this briefly, Nick, but we in general, we like sending PBN links a lot to the homepage versus getting real spammy with them on inner pages and sending a bunch to a single inner page, right? Because they're already so unnatural, these homepage links, right? PBN, it's already one of the most unnatural type of links you can get. They're powerful and they can work very well, but you need to be careful with what you're doing. And so, sending a bunch of these homepage links to an inner page, homepage PBN links, I'm saying, to one of your inner pages on your money site, is extremely unnatural. And so, sending them to most of them to your money page could probably be a pretty good idea. And then, you could send, some to your inner pages, but I wouldn't go too heavy on any single inner page. You got anything else to add on that, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, then you got to talk about, the anchors you use, etc. And remember that, again, we talk about different backlink types being different tools for different purposes. A PBN is a homepage contextual backlink, right? If you're getting 40 of those over the course of even 2 months and you've got max 100 referring domains going to that website, it's going to look incredibly unnatural, right? Because like Chris said, it's very rare to get homepage links in general. When you imagine getting like a guest post or something like that, how often is it that you get the opportunity to get your link on that homepage, especially like in a contextual post? So you want these to make up a very small percentage of your backlink profile. So if you're talking about 40 PBNs, then the referring domains going to that site should be, that should make up max like 5% total, I would say. And you want to be dripping in different links at the same time as well. But yeah, then watch your anchors. And like Chris said, we prefer natural anchors most oftentimes to the homepage for PBNs now.
Yes, sir. All right. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, guys.
Nice.
I really appreciate it. Helps us out a lot. And definitely be sure to join our Facebook group as well, the SEO Roundtable. We're in there every day answering questions and posting tips and all that good stuff. All right. What do you prefer for link building, guest posts or niche edits, and why? I don't prefer either of them. They're both actually incredibly amazing, like in their own ways. As far as how we're building links now, I would say we probably build about like 50-50. What would you say, Nick?
Yeah. I mean, you can, offset that any given month and kind of shift it, but typically we're ordering, both of them for different assets.
Yeah, we were just talking about PBNs, and we do use PBNs, but pretty sparingly compared to the other stuff.
Yep.
And the other stuff mainly being guest posts and niche edits. These are the two main tools that we use, and we use both of them, right? Niche edits are great because you're getting links onto these articles that have already kind of established this trust and authority with Google. They've been around for a while. They might even have some of their own, the page you're getting a link from might have its own backlinks going to it as well. And yeah, so, they can be super great. And then with guest posts, since you're able to have a new article written, you're able to control the relevance to a much higher degree, right? Whereas niche edits, you're going and you're finding articles that have already been written, and you might not be able to get links on the exact ones that you want. And so the relevance in general tends to not be quite as super duper laser focused as guest post. And that can still be absolutely okay, right? Like niche edits are, like I said, we still use them about 50% niche edits, 50% guest posts. But the big advantage of what I see of guest posts is really being able to control that relevance, being able to dictate exactly what the article is about. I mean, you can get like super laser focused or do something kind of obscure or whatever that you couldn't find a niche edit article for. And yeah, of course, the downside with guest posts is you're kind of starting fresh. The article hasn't established any kind of trust or anything with Google quite yet. It's just a fresh article. But yeah, I mean, they're both, they have their advantages and disadvantages, and I can't pick a favorite.
Yeah, same.
We love both of them, right?
Yeah,
I will say this. I saw a statistic somewhat recently, and I don't know exactly how true this is. So take this with a grain of salt. But it was something along the lines of, I can't even remember it was either like 75% or 80% or maybe even 85%. It's like 75 to 85% of links that websites get are from new articles, meaning that, basically it comes from a new page, like a guest post, as opposed to something like a niche edit. And I don't think this really matters too much because, for example, Google can't say that you can't go around to a bunch of websites and try to convince existing pages to change a link, to say, oh, hey, my content's better. Maybe you can recommend my page to your users instead of the one you're already linking to. So basically, Google can't say it's not okay for you to go try to get niche edits, even though, if you're trying to say, well, what's natural? What's natural would be, most links are coming from new content. Anyway, I'm just kind of throwing this out there. I don't know how true that is, but it's not something we abide by. Like, we don't do 75, 80%, 85% guest posts. We do right about 50-50, 50% guest posts, 30% niche edits. You got anything else to add on that one, Nick?
No, not really. I mean, okay, just the final thought. Tying into the last question as well, what we preach more than anything here whenever you're building out a backlink profile is diversity of that backlink profile. And so I think even just the idea of having a favorite type of link, like, I get it if one helps push the envelope more, but over my last few years in SEO, I'd say that I don't have a favorite, because the diversification of backlink profiles is the recipe to, our success over here. And so I would, stress that being more of the way to look at it, is different tools that you're blending together to build out, the house or the foundation or whatever.
That's a very good point, right? Link diversity is key. Yeah. You don't want to do any one thing too much because it's just not natural. And so the idea of trying to pick a type of link which is your favorite, for example, a lot of people just are crazy about PBNs. And that might be okay if you're in like a super kind of black hat niche, like gambling or something. But in general, most of us are not in those niches, and you shouldn't be trying to pick a favorite type of link. You should use the stuff. You should use, a good mix of stuff rather than doing a bunch of the same exact thing. Try to have your link profile mimic natural link profiles rather than something that looks like it has just a very clear pattern throughout the whole thing. All right, let's see what else we got here.
I think there was a question up there. Gambling website. Harder to rank. Oh, we're going all the way up there.
So So they're talking about how they thought we were Eastern European. And someone says, you're not wrong. Most of the SEOs are Slavs, um, such as Ukraine, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Serbia, Russia, etc. Ahrefs and SEMrush founders are both Slavs. So actually, funny thing about that, I just learned that, so I'm American. I'm born and raised in America. But as far as where my families come from, then I'm definitely a Slav.
You are
Um,
right. Yeah, I was going to ask.
yeah, so my mom's family is mostly Czech, a little bit of Russian, and my father's family is all Greek, like 100% Greek. And I was looking at some maps the other day because I was talking to my Turkish friend about this, and some of the maps said that Greeks are Slavs, and then some of the maps did not include Greeks on the Slav list. But I think it's pretty safe to say I'm pretty Slavish, even though yeah,
Big.
definitely born and raised here in America. What's your nationality, Nick? Or like where your family's from?
Well, I've got two Italian grandfathers and one German, one Irish grandmothers, Argentinian mother, and Texan father. So I'm a bit, of a mix.
Definitely a bit more of a mix. And Jude's celebrating now. He says he was right.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what's funny about that is actually it. So I don't know. I get a mixed response. Some people definitely say I look Eastern European, and some people say I look like all American. Where do you stand on that, Nick? Do I look European or do I look super American?
I think you could pass as either, actually. Um, you know, your name could easily be Franz if I didn't know you.
When I'm out of the country, people usually they don't know I'm American for whatever reason. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. Um, Back to some PBN questions. Uh, would you say the main footprint of a PBN is homepage links? What else is a major footprint in your view? Hosting.
Yeah, I would actually say probably the main issues that I've seen people run into have to do with hosting. A big one being contact information, because even if you make hypothetical, let's go back to that other question, 40 PBNs and they're all on privacy, and that makes up a huge portion of the backlink profile that just hit your website over the course of the last 2 months. Then that's even going to be an issue, right? Then I see a lot of people struggle with using a lot of the same plugins or not diversifying plugins. There's a reason that I like to add minimum 2 random plugins that don't serve any purpose to the build at all, just to have them in there. And I try and do things like that pretty often, just add a little element of randomness. But then I think that once you get the basis, the foundation of how to remove footprints from the back end of the site, um, one of the issues I remember struggling with early on as well was, yeah, how many different homepage links can I use to the same website, or can I not mix that up at all? And the answer is actually, kind of complex, because no, it's going to depend on how many PBNs you have altogether and then how much overlap there is there. But a way to help with that overlap is to add a wide array of diversified authority outbound links to other major websites, but make sure that they are very different across the board. Majority of the articles that I put up are going to have authority outbound links. And a lot of the reason is to diversify, the network of websites that the PBN itself links out to.
So as far as footprints go, hosting's number one.
Or maybe contact information. Those two,
Contact information.
yeah.
So contact
Um,
information and hosting, big ones. Um,
all the same registrar,
would would you
maybe.
would you consider it being a homepage link a footprint?
If you've got like 10 money sites and you're linking out to like 8 of those money sites across 40 PBNs, then yeah, that's a footprint, right? Even if you're doing authority outbound linking on there, at some point in time, the
But
room's
are you
going to
talking
get
about
tied
linking to the
together
site's homepage or linking from the PBN's homepage?
from the PBN to your money sites.
Okay.
hmm Um, yeah, so that's how I'm reading this anyway.
Yeah, no. So yeah, hosting and contact information, yeah, I think are probably the big ones, right? As far as homepage links go, I mean that's pretty. I don't know if I consider it a footprint really, because it's basically like all PBN links or most of them are homepage links. Um, so as far as being able to trace one back to the other just because they're both homepage links, I don't know if I'd necessarily call it a footprint. It's more indicative that it could be a PBN, but as far as like tracing them all back to each other, I don't think it's really a thing. So maybe we're kind of talking about a little bit of a different thing here. Anyway, I was just saying, as far as like hosting and contact information, these are footprints in the classic sense in that they could actually link them together and like take down a significant portion of your network at one time, right? Versus homepage links, you can't really draw. I mean, it says like this could be a PBN, but it doesn't say that they're somehow connected in some way or owned by the same person or whatever. But it's definitely tips it off that it could be a PBN, right?
Well, you could get popped for linking out to the same money sites from like the same group of PBNs. It
Yeah.
can it can de-index the PBN.
Yeah, so maybe just the fact that it's a homepage link and they're getting more homepage links, maybe they look into it because of that. But um, yeah, maybe it doesn't really connect them together, but it could be cause to look into it for being a PBN. Anyway, it's really neither here nor there. But yeah, uh, like Nick said, contact information and hosting.
Hosting plugins.
Um, see what we got next. Like always, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. Join us on our Facebook group as well, SEO Roundtable. We're in there every single day, answering questions, posting tips. Why are gambling websites harder to rank on Google? It's because all the other gambling websites are using, in some cases, highly advanced black hat tactics. And yeah, it's just gambling and certain other niches can be kind of like an SEO war zone as compared to other niches that don't have the same level of black hat stuff going on. Um, yeah, I don't really have much. What do you have to say on that, Nick?
Well, I mean, yeah, when you look at maybe some of the SERPs that like individuals partake in, like smaller time SEOs, then yeah, there's a lot of black hat tactics used. But I would say like overall for the niche in general, the main reason is that the casino niche is worth an insane amount of money. And
That's
all
true.
of these websites that are drawing in countless oftentimes degenerate gamblers that are looking to bet the farm on, random stuff. Like the big players are making an insane amount of cash by being in those SERPs. So if you're
So you have
talking about like
well-funded
Poker
black hat.
Stars, yeah, all the budgets are just insane, right? And then anybody that can, fit in there and turn gamblers onto their websites are standing to earn a significant amount of cash off of it's a digital playground basically, right? Like low upkeep, tons of money. And then of course, like that movie with Justin Timberlake in it, I can't remember the name of it, but there's all sorts of shady stuff that goes on within there, just in the way they program things, etc. So yeah, just an incredibly high dollar target for actors that will do anything to win.
Yeah,
So
so well-funded, advanced black hat, right?
mhm.
So Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't get much harder than that, right? It's just, well, I mean, I guess the what does get harder than that would be maybe something like real estate, which is like well-funded gray hat, which, mixes in a lot of even like white hat stuff, like extremely valuable white hat or gray hat, whatever you want to call them, uh, link building, right? That can just take tons of time and money to establish that kind of link profile needed to rank in those niches. Um, Anything else on that, Nick?
No, that's about it.
All right.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the show.
Gotta, guess we'll try to say it after every question. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Join us on Facebook, guys. SEO Roundtable. Anyone had their site traffic? Apparently it happened. Site traffic tank. Apparently it happened on the 18th, mine included. We had someone else. I don't know if you're the same person who asked this in our Facebook group, but someone else had said that yeah, they had their traffic tank, and I think one person agreed with them that they had
Yeah.
had some kind of trouble as well. But I looked over on Algoroo, which is what we use to basically to answer the question, is it just me or is it other people too? And you can see on the 18th right here, this is May 18th, it was basically just another day.
Now, though, some maybe that little bit of turbulence 2 days before or whatever, maybe they just, said it was on the 18th. That's when they checked or something. Possible.
Yeah, but still, even then, these
Yeah,
yellow
not
days, these are
crazy.
scattered everywhere. It's just kind of natural, right? And like when you zoom out, if you zoom out really far, you see like the big red days. These are like, big algo updates going on these days, major movement, as opposed to just kind of somewhat natural type stuff going on. I don't know if you were here for the very beginning of the show, but Google released a tweet today saying that I don't have it on my clipboard anymore. That yeah, actually it's right here. Let me get this back up. Yeah, so yeah, sorry, but yeah, I don't know if you're here for the beginning of the show, but Google just released a tweet today saying that they're having a broad core algorithm update starting today. No one knows what's going on yet. I haven't really seen I haven't even really checked my rankings yet, but I haven't seen any kind of information on this yet. It's just something that's happening now. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
probably venture to guess we're going to get a red day or two here pretty soon.
yeah, just really depends on what they're adjusting, right?
Hmm.
Guess we'll see. But yeah, be prepared.
Hopefully the little guy gets a shot. They take down a little bit of those SERPs going to Amazon and Walmart and give them to some of us mom and pop SEOs.
Also, I just saw this recently, guys. I wanted to know what you think about this. So we usually use Algoroo yes, to see if there's a lot of movement or if it's just us, essentially. But someone else brought to my attention Semrush Sensor, which does kind of the same thing. However, you can't go back longer than 30 days as far as what I'm seeing. Maybe if we logged in, maybe we could see more. I didn't even try that yet. And I'm not going to log in right now though. But my problem with this is it's saying like every day is high. And it even has like, like 6 days in the past month that it's rating as very high. So I feel like the SEMrush one might still need a little bit of work. It
Well, I'd
just
like to see what like a comparable red day in Algoroo looks like in there.
here. So let's see. What's this? So May 19th and May 9th. Not red days, but kind of the bigger yellow days in the
Yeah.
past month. 9th and 19th. What's going on over here? 9th. It was one of the red ones. And 19th, also one of the red ones.
Okay, so maybe it's also how we like look at the graph, where it looks pretty extreme, but
Uh-huh.
maybe if it's like a year's worth of it, then we
So maybe
kind
high
of
is
get the
just kind of
top.
normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once they get up into the red, that's kind of, but even then, so for example, in Algoru, these yellow ones right here, they look high, but it's only because you're not zoomed out to see the
Right.
actual high ones.
Hmm.
So like, where would the actual high one go? I mean, it would just be like a little bit higher than that.
Well, or
Um,
the graph's probably dynamic and would shrink down. You know what I'm saying?
that's true. Maybe it's adjusting for the whatever 30 days,
Yeah.
but that's not good. Um, anyway, maybe they have some more work to do on the tool or whatever, but I wish you could definitely zoom out so you could see what how this stuff compares to others. Because yeah, like you were just saying, it could be dynamic. Like for an Algoru, when you zoom back
Yeah.
in, it's taking up like the whole bar now. And then when you zoom out, then those are much smaller now compared to these red ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Maybe you've played around with it more than I have, or
Yeah, I
seen
haven't
it
messed with it at
while you're
all.
logged in. All right, let's see what we got next. Someone says, nice channel. Sorry, I don't know how to say
Thank
your
you.
name. Atto? Um,
I was gonna guess Anton.
Teeth Health Central says,
Oh, okay.
Nick, why is your sexy hair covered up?
Oh man, I'm so sorry. It's because I don't feel too well today. I was kind of like in pajama mode before getting amped up to be on live stream. I tried drinking coffee, tried to do all sorts of things. Today I just I'm a bit of a low energy kind of guy, and I'm sorry. I know it's a bit of a buzzkill, but I I'm here. I'm here, I'm present. But yeah, I will do my hair next time. I appreciate you noticing as well.
All right. How do you guys stay focused and productive after hiccups and ranking? Just continue pumping out articles? Yeah, I mean, you just
Yeah.
keep moving forward. This, you just, I think you kind of just get used to it after a while.
Well, also, I think as you advance as an SEO, what you'll come to find is that the campaigns don't stop. Like, what is natural in the SERPs is that a website continues to get press and it continues to grow and it continues to add content. Not to say that there's not mom and pop shops, that stay, relatively the same over the course of years, even. But that's going to be more like local, non-competitive SERPs. Typically, when we're talking about things, we're talking about national campaigns. And so what you'll come to find is that there's always backlinks hitting those assets. There's always new content going up. And the kind of I don't know, the galaxy you're kind of creating with that network of sites pointing to you, and that content consistently growing is something that Google kind of uses to decide the health of what's going on with everything. So I think when you kind of come to that realization, then every month is just continuous work on whatever website you're working on versus trying to hit a certain goal set and then saying you made it, which is typically, I remember, myself as an early SEO thinking what I need to do is I need to hit these targets and then I can kind of like regroup, etc. But it's just not really the way that things work. You want a continual campaign going through everything, and you never stop that momentum, even if there's downside. And that's another thing worth mentioning, that even if you're doing everything perfectly and you're getting like a rank graph through the roof in Ahrefs, at some point in time, there will be a correction to that graph. No matter what you're doing, it's going to happen. And so you just, remain cautious of that and keep moving forward with whatever you're doing.
So to kind of take it a little bit of a different direction, it could also depend on what you mean by hiccups in ranking.
Well, yeah, true.
It depends on how big of a hiccup it is. I mean, if we're talking about a very large hiccup, maybe like a penalty, then it's time to go back to the drawing board a little bit and try to figure out what's the issue in what you're doing. Versus if it's just like a short-term hiccup, things go up and down, or maybe you're having trouble ranking some content that you thought was going to be easy and it's just not turning out to be easy. You know, again, that's cause to kind of look into things a little bit deeper. But also you have to just be aware that sometimes it just doesn't work out the way that you think it's going to work out. You know, even us, you know, when we're building sites or whatever, you know, maybe you think this article is going to be easy to rank, and then it's just not, and you're like, well, why? It just doesn't always work out the way that you're expecting it to, and that's just part of the game and something you have to get used to as well. And yes, you can look into it deeper and try to figure it all out and whatever, but you might not ever really figure it out completely. So you have to just kind of take a little bit more of, I guess, like a shotgun approach to things, where you're looking at kind of this broader picture rather than, well, why isn't this one exact article and this one exact keyword ranking? You know, take the look at your overall site. You know, maybe you know 50% of your articles ranked well, maybe the other 50% didn't. You can kind of try to figure out why they didn't. But at some point, you have to just accept that Google's kind of its own animal, and some of these things are extremely hard to figure out. And so rather than beating yourself up over why certain things are going down or having trouble ranking at all, and others are just, you know, exactly how you had planned, it might be better to just kind of, like Nick was saying, you keep moving forward, right? And then maybe you can revisit that other stuff a little bit of a later time and mess around with it, you know, check all the usual stuff. Does it match search intent? Does it does it cover the topic fully? Does it need more links? Is it more competitive than I thought it was? You know, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think overall, just as far as being productive and focused and motivated goes, the best thing to know is that it's completely normal for shit to go completely sideways and down and just not like you had expected it, right? Just know that you're not alone.
Yeah, just in case you're at a position that I've been through before, which was probably the lowest point of my life, starting off my own SEO business. You know, until you figure out recipes to success, you know, which is kind of the angle we're speaking from right now. But if you haven't really dove into SEO, had a successful project, really know recipes that are going to help you get in top positions of the SERPs, maybe you're struggling to really just keep momentum up in general because it seems like everything that you're doing is kind of futile and you're, you know, not really getting where you want to go. Um, you have to stay tenacious. You have to keep learning and you have to keep exploring in SEO, especially early on, in order to find things that are going to give you that competitive advantage that you're going to be able to use in your recipes to success later on. And once you really have that, then you can kind of hone in on that skill set and it gets easier over time. But the initial hump to figure out these recipes is very difficult. And so just consider it like a sort of internship. If that's the stage you're at, you have to put a lot of time and effort into your education in order to get masterful at moving things around in the SERPs.
Yes, sir.
And you know, I wish we had a something like Sir Links-a-Lot YouTube channel when I was learning, because there wasn't anything like that you could really just hone in on and trust. And a lot of everything that you know, did teach me anything, it cost a substantial amount of money to learn from. So yeah, you know, we try and put out information that's going to help y'all with these recipes, but it's up to you to you know, kind of sit and watch and learn or read and learn.
All right. Um, like always, like, comment, subscribe. Join us on Facebook, our Facebook group, SEO Roundtable. Ask questions every day, and we post tips and new case studies and articles and stuff in there as well, every day. All right. Do you think manual reviewers ultimately determine who is on page one? I'm guessing in the US market, this is quite common.
I actually don't.
Manual reviewers, as in,
Yeah, I don't. I don't think manual reviewers
no.
determine really, if any, page one rankings.
That would be a
I
massive
would.
scandal if true. Like massive, massive.
Yeah, I mean, there are manual review teams that look at websites, but it's like you have to kind of think about it. It's all being funneled down through an algorithm, right? So when we're talking about manual reviewers, oftentimes we're talking about reviewing like this certain threshold of spam based on a spam score that, Google has. And they're looking through these assets. I've personally never been worried about that either, because you have to imagine how many SERPs are out there, literally limitless amount of words constituting different
Yeah,
traffic
it would
volumes.
be too much work for them
Um,
to manually decide who's on page
yeah,
one for every search, right? It would be just an insane amount of manpower.
right.
But also another thing to kind of go against this, like proof that it's not true, is if you look at how search intent works these days, like how Google basically wants a certain type of article or whatever for whatever kind of search. Like for example, it might just all be everything on page one might be a list of different whatevers, or it could be 10 tips or whatever, or just a review. Basically, the fact that they need to all be the same means that even if you have something that is infinitely better, if it's not just written by some crappy writer that doesn't add anything new, you craft an infinitely better piece of content than everything else on page one, you're probably not going to get on page one just because you're not following the formula of what Google wants for that specific search, right? And if there were manual reviewers, you would hope, you would think that they would actually pick the thing that's actually better versus the thing that the algorithm says, this is what we want for this SERP, right? Even though in a lot of cases it tends up to be just the same recycled crap, one after the other, right?
Yeah. And then let's think about kind of what you were jumping into, or I feel like you probably were, that it would be a huge scandal. How are you going to remove some sort of bias out of an individual? And how are you going to take a benign approach to deciding what shows up number one in the SERPs? If it was manually done, then there's no doubt about it that issues would be caused that would be noticed by other human beings in the SERPs. There'd be some sort of monopoly scandal or something like that that come up at some point in time.
All right. We are running out of time, guys. Looks like we got a couple questions left. And if you have any more, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them. And we'll be leaving here pretty soon. So yeah, any questions, go ahead and drop them now, please. Not sure if I understand this one. Example, site 1, site 2, site 3, all in the same niche. Can I drop all links together, different anchor text, naked URL, mix up all at the same time, creating backlinks?
Talking about PBNs or just creating any kind of backlink?
He was talking
Um,
about PBNs earlier. I'm not sure if
well,
he's still
okay.
talking about PBNs now. If you're still in the chat, Surrender, let us know if you're talking about PBNs or other stuff. If it's not for PBNs, I would say, yeah, don't really worry about it too much, right? Um, and yeah, I just wouldn't really worry about it too much. It says money sites. I really don't understand your.
From a PBN to your money site, so like same PBN and you're linking out to 3 money sites from it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. We're just gonna wait for your answer here, Soretti. Maybe you can give us
Well,
a,
I mean, all in all, though, yeah, you can drop 3 links in a day. Majority of what you need to worry about is how many referring domains you have going to a particular money site and what you can get away with as far as link velocity goes. But yeah, 3 links. I mean, I'd say you're fine no matter really what you're using.
For
Yeah,
for pillow links
pillow
and niche
links, niche
edits, I
edits.
wouldn't worry about it at all.
You're fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wouldn't really worry about it at all. Um, for PBNs, you probably want to be a little bit more cautious, but for niche edits and especially for pillow links, just who cares?
And like niche edits, you have to take into account that all these sites are being crawled at different times, and then the inner pages of those sites are being crawled at different times. So it's kind of irrelevant when they get dropped. If they're dropped on the same day, what does matter is when Google crawls them, right? Which is going to be completely random. And oftentimes that's why I like to start off a money site with heavy linking, is that I'm just creating a web of random backlinks for Google to continually be crawling.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. Got this one here. Maybe you know about this one, Nick. What are the main factors to get Google AdSense approval? Is having a privacy policy a must? I actually don't even know.
I have no idea. We might be able to look it up real quick, but
Yeah,
I don't really mess with Google AdSense.
Me either.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the best person to ask about.
I feel like a privacy policy is just best to have because it takes little to no effort to put up and throw, a link to it in the footer. So if it's in question, just go ahead and toss it up anyway. But yeah, I don't know the specific answer to that.
Well, let's see what they got over here. We can look into it real quick.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it seems
Okay.
kind of like a question that Google search might be better at answering than we're gonna be able to help you out with here. Blah blah blah. Do you have your own unique and interesting content? That's number one. Google loves the interesting content. Does your content comply with AdSense policies? I don't see program policies. Let's see what that is. No. So yeah, it's basically talking about kind of like where the traffic is coming from. Basically like your traffic numbers being inflated and whatever by doing kind of weird stuff.
Okay, so Google AdSense requires you to follow all privacy laws, including the GDPR. If you use AdSense, you're collecting personal data from your website users and must update your privacy policy to comply with GDPR requirements. That was on May 13th, 2022.
Yeah, maybe good to do what Nick says there. But yeah, I'm definitely not an ads guy.
Same.
But it's actually something I've been wanting to kind of play around with a little bit more. But yeah, that's just not something I can really speak too much on right now. All right, I think we're done with questions. That looks like the last one. Did we have any on our list that we really wanted to answer?
I don't think so.
No, we'll just save those
I
for
think they
some
were
other
just
time.
randos. Yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah, thanks for coming out. Hopefully we answered your questions. Hopefully you will, I don't know, go out there and just
Like, comment, subscribe.
smash the ranking button.
Nice.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Join us on Facebook, SEO Roundtable. It's definitely the place to be. And yeah, we'll see you next week, same time, same place, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time.